Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, November the 1st, 2022. It's 1:30 p.m. We're in the Ralph Walton Jr. Justice Center at the Century Jury Room, 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. The purpose of this meeting here today is a special called meeting of the Commissioners Court, and the topic that we're going to be discussing today concerns Tyler Technologies regarding the invoice of $220,750. For people that are not in a department here, if you want to speak, you must fill out a public participation form, hand it to Sheriff Deeds, and Sheriff Deeds will in turn hand it to Katie Lang, the county clerk, and she will mark you in turn, and at the appropriate time we will call on you to speak. So at this time, who wants to start this thing off? Ms. Kidd, do you want to talk about, I thought I saw her in here. Did she not in here? Do you see Becky? Where?
She's just saying hi.
Good afternoon, Ms. Kidd. I mean, I'm so used to seeing you here or there that I didn't look for you here, but you can hide, but you can't run. But I've got 3 public participation forms so far in here. Ms. Kidd, would you like to start off by saying something?
No, sir, I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
You said it all at the Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think I did too. Who would like to open it up and start here? I can start with Dr. Granick, the people that up here, or we can call upon a department head. Who would like? Ms. Lang, would you like to say anything, or Judge Gillum?
I'll wait to see what you guys want.
Okay. Okay, Judge Gillum, if you...
I agree with Katie Lane. What is this about?
Well, it's about having to pay the $220,750 because you and Katie Lang did not meet the deadline about Tyler. Okay? That's what it's about.
Well, I'll address the court. June 4th, 2021. Broken promises by Commissioner Jack Wilson, improper motion, and to hold a hearing and a workshop on going to Tyler. June 7th, 2021, broken promises again by Jack Wilson about holding a commissioner's court. And these are all emails that I've been sending to every one of you, county judge and all 4 commissioners, as well as Tyler, in writing, dates and times. June 2nd, 2021, huge Tyler problems with the security and the transference of the data management given to the county judge, Jack Wilson, all the county commissioners, and Tyler. February 9th, 2022, a huge problem with the security of Tyler management and transfer of data to Clint Griggs, Greg Wallace, Tyler Technologies, commissioners, and judge. May 2nd, 2022, request for another workshop to discuss the problems that we have with the Tyler conversion, transition, building of the program, and implementing of the questions, answering the questions, huge issues with security. May 19th, 2022, to judge, commissioners, Tyler is not working for the JP courts and county clerk. May 31st, 2022, request to stop all Tyler activity for JP4. This is not working. It's too much time. We don't have, my office operates very efficiently. We didn't have the assets to put 1 clerk full-time on this program full-time. June 1st, 2022, stop all Tyler activity. County Judge and Commissioners, JP4 will not be participating with Tyler or converting to Tyler Technologies from Net Data. June 1st, 2022, notice to all commissioners stopping all Tyler activity. A second one. Tyler discontinuance, 8/4/2022. We will not be going through the transition and converting of data. This was sent to Mr. Wallace, County Judge, County Commissioners. Tyler Technologies, Mr. Wallace has stated numerous times, I will let the commissioners know that that y'all are stopping activity, but we need a contract amendment. Therefore, in June and August of 2022, I sent letters to the county judge and commissioners requesting a contract amendment to save money. June 22nd, 2022, new NetD contract I got from NetD. Commissioners refused to review it, look at it. I spoke before the Commissioners Court asking to reconsider because you had the opportunity to work with the officials instead of against us, instead of forcing us to go to Tyler, which this little chart, I want to remind everybody, this is what y'all did. Y'all took a bunch of county offices, elected officials who liked their software and forced them to change the software we didn't like. You took those that didn't like the NetD software and you let them go to a software that they did like. So what you did is you just rearranged the problem. You didn't solve the problem. And here we are today. Numerous times I have requested and asked to work with y'all about this solution. September 8th, 2020. 2022, information to County Judge Commissioners, spoke with Mr. Wallace, amending the contract because I was not going to use Tyler. Katie Lang was not going to use Tyler. We've asked you numerous times to amend the contract. Numerous emails from County Clerk Katie Lang stating to Tyler, to the County Judge, to Commissioners, we were not going to use it. Numerous times in the governance meetings, we stated we were not going to use Tyler. And so, clear as day, here's all the emails, open records. They're all here of what has happened and the notices I sent this Commissioners Court. So, I'm not going to allow you to defect your inability and incompetence to manage and control the county budget or deflected on the county clerk, Katie Lang, or myself, nor will I allow the mismanagement of other departments that's been brought up lately, begging for sheriff's pay for the deputies to be deflected upon us for running our departments the way we see fit. I will not allow that to happen. You stated everyone, and when you say everyone in this county and other counties, you like to use other counties as an example. They're all going to Tyler. Well, if you want to compare us to other counties, let's compare sheriff's investigators in other counties that don't have as many as we do. Let's compare IT budgets in other counties that are bigger than us that have less of an IT budget, like Parker County, $1 million for their budget, $2 million for ours. Let's compare everything. You don't get to pick and choose because it fits your narrative. Not everyone is going to Tyler because they want to. They're being forced and coerced by this court. And when I say this court, I mean 3 that voted for and 2 that wanted us to stay with what we currently had. There's a difference between having to go to something and wanting to go something. You stated JP 1 and 2, they're going to Tyler. They don't want to go to Tyler. They're being forced. They would rather stay with NetD. The $220,000 Tyler invoice is wasteful spending because you've allowed it to get this far. Earlier this year, I asked y'all, redo the Tyler contract. It will save the county money. I want to save the county hundreds of thousands of dollars by staying with NetD. but you didn't want to work with us. You had the option to let the JPs stay, but you chose to work against us. So by you bringing this $220,000 contract now up, not once, Commissioner Wilson, have you called me, emailed me, or told me about this. And I received a letter from Katie that was sent from Tyler stating, we are refusing to go along. It's going to take months to get us live and go live. I'm not going live because I'm not using Tyler. And that I refused because I don't have the staffing. Never once did I say that. That is false information. Gentlemen, I have integrity. I'm held to a higher standard as a judge, a JP. I have a solid core values, honesty, integrity, 29-year retired state trooper, courtesy, service, and protection. My office speaks for itself. My office operates in a highly efficient manner. I bring in my average, $26,000 a month. Got my new budget now, it's $29,000 we just brought in receipts. My office has saved the counties thousands of dollars on coroner fees that nobody even knew was going on until I showed up. Thousands of dollars in coroner's fees. We remedied that, working with our funeral home. My office runs efficiently. I was told this is wasteful spending. No, there's a lot of things this court wastes money on. $200,000 RV that's yet to be used, $300,000 bookmobile, $100,000 to cover it. Who knows how much on radio, because we keep having to fix our radio, $700,000, $800,000, $1 million. That's wasteful spending. This is not, because this could have been taken care of way before today. I will not be criticized for failing to do your job to control the contracts. That's not my job. It's not in my job requirements as a JP for contracts. That's yours. I've been told that many, many times. The Attorney General opinion, I guess, matters not. Yes, we're waiting on Attorney General opinion, because I don't think you have the right to tell me what software I have to use, especially because many of you stood in my court, in my office, and told me, who are we to tell you what software to change to? We want you, quote, to keep what software you want to keep. And then you broke those promises. And you said it in front of myself and my clerks. So I hear a lot of these days that Attorney General opinions don't matter. Wow. People in this county said Attorney General opinions don't matter. That's just sad. And so I'm waiting on Attorney General opinion, see what it says come January. But Judge, I'll quote you from the other day, there's always a higher authority than Attorney General opinions. So I have an open door policy. I've come and visited each and every one of you and sat in your offices, emailed you, and talked to you.
That's not true. You have never been in my office. Never.
When we sat down and agreed on a workshop, you promised me you would have a workshop. I sat right there in your office. You said if I didn't sue the county, you would have the workshop. We sat at the desk in your office across from each other right in front of Kathy Gwynn's court. You lie again.
No, sir. Okay.
We had that meeting in your office. I came to your office, sat across from you in your desk. It doesn't shock me, Commissioner Wilson.
Outside your office twice.
No, sir. In your office, in Acton, we had a discussion, and the discussion was we shook hands that I would drop the lawsuit if we would have the Tyler workshop, and you agreed. We walked out the door shaking hands. I was sitting in your office. You mean describe your office? I was sitting right in it. It's right there at the front window when you walk in to the right. It was just me and you. And the judge's office was in there. I said hi to them that day. I have the date and time. You want to challenge that? Because I will not be lied to. And I will call you out as you continue to lie to me and the people of Hood County. You tout honesty and integrity, Commissioner. I just stated I don't lie. And I'm highly offended that you just lied right here in Commissioner's Court on record, and I called you out on it. I have the date and time in the meeting and exactly what was said. I welcome anyone to come to my office
Can
and
I
talk.
ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Did you just say that we did not have a workshop for Tyler?
No, the prior workshop, prior to y'all saying we were going to wait and see, let's have a meeting with all the parties concerned and have a workshop. Jack Wilson said 3 times we were going to have that workshop. We never had it. Then you voted in court and said we're all going to Tyler. Bam, we were there. So finally, we kept talking. We said, all right, we're going to look at this Tyler stuff and see what it involves. Found out it's overwhelming, and it's exactly what we were told. We had to build and design the program. It cost thousands and thousands of hours to implement this program, to build it. And then we had these workshops where the district attorney, the county clerk, 3 JPs stood up and said, we don't want this. But you had already signed the contract. That was in the workshop that y'all finally had after the fact. But you had already made up your minds. So I've always welcomed, anyone can come in my office and talk to me. I welcome anyone to come in. And I have a huge times, dates, files, emails, contracts, 37 other counties in the state that can't stand Tyler. Polk County being the one where the JPs, that was a disaster. The whole county went to Tyler, but all the JPs stayed. I gave you every one of their contact information, their names, the county judge of how they settled that contract with Tyler. And Tyler was like, hey, we're okay. We're still your client. Let the JPs go. And it worked, and it's working great. All we ask is for you to work with us and not against us. But I gave you clear messages in my emails, all these emails. I was not moving forward with Tyler.
After you acknowledge that the Commissioner's Court, and Matt Mills that's sitting back there, said that the Commissioner's Court has the right to choose the software except for the auditor. That's what we told you. All those emails and stuff that you're trying to do, Judge Gillum, is after the Commissioner's Court voted that the entire county would switch to Tyler. And everybody in the county, including the other 3 JPs, have switched to Tyler.
Forcibly.
And they switched to it.
Forcibly.
Hey, whatever. We made the decision. You're the one. You acknowledge that, and I told you this when you came into my office. I told you square out that we have the law. This is what Matt Mills says. We have the law where we did have some attorney general opinions. Matt just wrote one specifically for this about Tyler, this specific case. But there are attorney general opinions that say that the Commissioner's Court has the right to choose the software, but for the county auditor. You knew that. So everything that you got in that folder is after this court had made the decision to go to Tyler. You could smile and smirk
No, sir.
all
Hey,
you want.
I tell you what,
but
Judge,
everything in that, hey, let me finish.
You're not going to
Let
bully
finish
me
you.
like you bully Matt Mills.
Let me tell you something. I'm not bullying you, but you sit up
bully
here and
Matt
preach
Mills
to
and
us.
you sit up
I'm
here
going to
and
tell
bully.
you the truth, and I'm going to tell the people here in Hood County the truth. Everything that you got in that folder came after the Commissioner's Court made the decision to switch to Tyler. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? When you tell us as a JP,
No, sir.
that you're one of four JPs, and that you don't care what the Commissioners Court doing, you're going to do what you want to do.
You're
That's not the
incorrect.
way to run the county. That's not the way this Commissioner Court's going to run the county.
I think you need
And
to
then
practice
Ms.
what you preach.
Lang came up here and said that she's not going to use it. You know, but you don't get to make that decision after the Commissioners Court has already had here an open meeting, listened to everybody, had the reports, had the workshop. We already had a workshop. We had the report that was prepared by Nanette Samuelson and Sharon Sealander.
You're
We had
deflecting.
all of that done here.
You're
All of that
deflecting.
was brought out, and the Commissioners Court voted, and we made the decision that we would go to Tyler. And everybody in the county made the transition, but for you, Judge Gillum, and for Katie Lang. And because of that, we got a $220,750 bill. Now, that's the truth. You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? That's the truth. And that will exactly what happened.
No, sir,
So,
it is
yes,
not.
it is what happened.
No, and let me rebuttal what you said. Everything in this folder is prior to y'all voting to go to Tyler. So you were incorrect there. I have all the information that I begged and pleaded with y'all. We don't need to go to Tyler. Everything that's wrong with Tyler, especially converting their warrant software, how dangerous that is, that was all before you voted.
Well,
That was
after we
all
voted,
before you voted. I'm
acknowledged
still
that we
talking.
voted,
Don't interrupt
but
me.
you didn't follow the decision of the Commissioners Court.
No.
You've said, I'm not
So,
going to do
again,
that.
I'll quote you, there's a higher authority.
Well, it's not you, J.P. Gillum.
No, it might be a district
It's not
judge
you,
or a federal court
J.P. Gillum.
judge.
It's not you, okay?
You know, and since we're talking about bullying, I'm sick of you treating Matt Mills the way you do. You call him up for
I
solicitation
think
of
that
his
Mr. Mills and
opinions.
I have a good professional relationship, and Mr. Mills, I think, can speak for himself.
You're
I thought
interrupting me
Mr.
again. You
Mills-
want to let me talk? Because
No, I was just saying,
I'm up
Mr.
here
Mills right here,
speaking.
We're going to get him to say if
You
I believe.
belittled him the last Commissioners Court. You ask him, you solicit him for his opinion, then you belittle him. And it's the third time you've done it since I've been JP. You bully people from up there. You can have a conversation, but I'm not going to stand for it. And no, sir, I did not agree that you had opinion to change our software. Just because you could doesn't mean you should have. You had the option by Nanette Samuelson to go with option 2 and let the JP stay. But we're going to argue this till heck freezes over, and y'all aren't going to change your mind. I get that. We're here on a $220,000 invoice that I told y'all months ago I was not going to complete. You can change my software. You cannot force me to use it. And that's in the statute of the government code.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak? Okay. Tina Brown? Good afternoon, Ms. Brown.
Good afternoon. I have something I want to pass out to everybody.
Put your mic down when you talk, though, would you?
Also didn't know I was going to have all the time in the world to talk today. I thought I was all going to be limited to 3 or 4
This,
Okay, so I kind of agree with Dub Gillum. Why are we here today? I disagree with what he went over, but based on today's agenda and the fact that Tyler Software keeps coming up in this court, either on agenda items, public speakers, an open mic day, or like what happened last week in last week's meeting, I went and did a search of how many times Tyler comes up in your on your website. And I found, what is it, 16 different times since 2017. So Tyler's been around for a long time. None of y'all were, and I didn't go over all these because I really thought I was only going to have a couple of minutes to talk. But I did list them all so you can look at them. These 16 items only account for when it was listed in the agenda. Like last week, it's not on last week's agenda. Just software was listed. So who knows how many times we've been in this court for this problem? I don't know. I'm guessing I'd have to watch all the videos to figure that out. And I didn't have time to do that, and I didn't know I'd be able to talk unlimited. So I just know it's been way too many times. Anyway, this court decided to switch to Tyler technology, get the whole county on the same platform. Sounds like a great deal, sounds like a money-saving opportunity to get everybody on the same software. And so you formed a committee, looked at the recommendations, and made the decision. I do not understand why all the departments in this county are ready to go live except for these two. I don't understand why this is, I especially don't understand why this is still an issue with the county clerk's office. Because I saw a video dated 7/9/21 from a commissioner's court meeting where she stood up here and said she would pay her portion of Tyler software out of Fund 68, the Records Retention Fund. Why is she backing down now?
Okay, I'm not backing down. I agreed to pay that. You're correct. That was a year ago. And the contract is an annual contract renewed yearly, and that's for Tyler maintenance. And I refused to pay it this time because I'm not using Odyssey. June 1st, I can go over, Dub did a very good job with the emails. I could go over all my emails, but I several times said that I would not be using Odyssey, that the conversion process was very overwhelming. Let's see, I have, okay, there was, for the conversion, Tyler relies on the SMEs to answer an unrealistic amount of questions. In just step 2, there are 55,000 questions to answer from my office, and this step alone will take 68.75 weeks. Our regular county clerk duties are our priority. They are by statute. The Texas Government Code states I am responsible for the safekeeping of all my records and the safety of all citizens whose names are in my records. We do not have the staff to properly run my office with the time that the Tyler conversion is taking. I will be stopping all Tyler activity. I had requested several times for somebody to help me, a technical person to come to my office and help me with the conversion. It fell on deaf ears. Not one of these 3 commissioners that voted for the software sent me an email, phoned me, came to my office, had a conversation with me. I asked for help. I asked for technical help.
Can I answer right there? But they did do that with all the other 20-something departments in this county?
No.
They held their hand and walked them through all the process?
No, they
Why
all
are-
had problems, as I stated in
Well,
the last commissioner's court. There was a
Well,
conversion.
why are they here arguing
Are you
for
going to
you?
interrupt me or let me talk?
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt you. You talked over me.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did not
we can
interrupt. You
exchange
asked me a
ideas?
question. You asked me a question and I was answering
Okay.
it. So if I can continue, last commissioner's court, last Tuesday, I stated that Tyler has a process, has a schedule for their process, their Tyler conversion. In the government meetings, it was brought up from Tyler that nobody is on schedule with their process, that they had to push it back, and the go-live date pushed back and pushed back. So I don't know I haven't been there the last time, so I have no idea what the schedule is now, but I can tell you that the county, all the elected officials are not up to date on the process.
But
So
this-
they have been pushed behind.
But this $200,000 is only for your office and Dub Gillum's office because y'all are behind everybody else in this county, right?
Okay, you're incorrect.
Okay.
That $220,000 is because these three commissioners and judge did not agree. They voted on that. And so they knew ahead of time that we were not comfortable with this. The study that was done, nobody came to me and talked to me about it. I have Tyler in my records deeds office. I love it. I have no problem with it. For the case management software in my court office, I'm on NetD and I love it. I don't want to change. They're forcing us to change. So,
I get it. Change is hard.
you don't
Change
get
is,
it.
I do. Oh, so you know what I get and what I don't get.
Okay, you
So
go
get
ahead.
smart.
You get it.
Change is hard, and especially harder for some people than other. But updating software is a learnable thing, and every department except yours and Doug Gillum seems to have learned this software and are ready to go live.
Okay.
So if you're,
Okay, I'm going
if
to
you're
stop you right
employees,
there.
you're
I'm not going to
talking,
be
you're arguing with me, I'm
belittled
still
by you,
talking.
a citizen coming
I am
up here and
still
talking to me.
talking.
No, I'm not going to let you
Excuse
bully
One
me.
at a time.
So
She
I am not
listened
gonna let
you,
you
Ms.
bully me.
Lang.
I'm not trying to bully you.
Yes, you are. You have no idea what I've been through on the conversion process. I have
No, I
tried
don't.
hard, and so has my staff. And so for you to come up here and say that I'm the only one not doing it, you are wrong.
You and Doug Gillum's offices, if I'm not mistaken, are the only two that are not ready to go live.
Because we stopped.
Well, then why did you stop? Everybody else is on board.
I don't have to sit here and go back and forth
No,
with you.
you don't. But this court voted 3-2 or whatever
Yes,
it
they
was.
did, to spend the money.
They voted
To spend the money.
to put the whole county on one system.
Except
one
for the
contract,
sheriff.
and
Except for
one-
the sheriff.
What?
The sheriff is not included in
Do you
this.
see this?
Why isn't the sheriff included?
I'm not letting her talk.
Why is the sheriff not included in this?
All right.
Let me
She
have
let
my
you
turn.
talk, Ms. Lang. Let her
Her
finish,
time's
please.
out.
Let her finish. Go ahead, finish now.
Okay, so everybody is ready to go live except your office and his office because you are acting, in my opinion, like spoiled toddlers that don't want to go with the program.
Do you see? Do you see? Do
You
you
are
see what-
costing,
Do you see what she's doing?
it's my
But let
opinion,
her
I'm
speak.
allowed my
Let her
opinion,
speak.
just like you are. This is my opinion.
Okay, but I don't call you names.
I didn't call you a name, I said you're acting like a spoiled toddler. They voted and said, we are going to go on this program, and it's going to streamline the whole thing for the whole county. Everybody's going to be on the same program, we're going to have one contract for one company. And you two said, nope, not going to do it. Nope, not going to do it.
Okay.
We have wasted too much time and too much money on this stuff. Enough is enough. You voted, everybody needs to get online or get new employees too who can figure this out. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. 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 Zach Maxwell?
Commissioners, thank you for the time. I didn't think it was going to get quite that lively so fast, but here we are. There's a couple issues that I have with this. I agree with Ms. Brown and everything that she had said, but I want to add, because I feel like there's two separate issues here as well. One, we have offices that don't want to participate in the software transition. 2 offices. The other side is, at last Commissioners Court meeting, we had an issue with her paying out of a different account with the records keeping. Is that correct? With her not wanting to spend out of a specific account that has $1.6 million in it, that she did not want to use to help support this software?
Yes.
My question is, in addition to that, as a taxpayer, because I remember her husband, whom I used to work for, was very adamant that any government entity that held money in an account and continued to charge taxpayers for things, for an account, to expand at such a rate over $300,000 a year, Ms. Lang, right? That's not conservative. That's not Republican, and that's not looking out for taxpayers. But what we could do is we could act together as a county of one instead of always trying to find a way to fight each other over things like software. To my understanding, nobody's brought to my attention, I could be wrong, but all the other counties in the state of Texas that have had issues, sure, it's software. You're going to have issues, right? But have any of them failed to get up to date? Have any of them failed to get the software where it needs to be in order to use the software? Well, we'll see about that. No one's addressed it yet. You had your opportunity to come say up here and say that, but it wasn't addressed like that. They had issues. But instead of fighting, I don't understand why we're not figuring out ways to be able to support the county, regardless of whatever issues that are up for discussion in regards to the sheriff's office or in regards to any other spending issue. Those things are up for debate. But we've got an account that's continuing to grow at over $300,000 a year that taxpayers are being taxed by fees that are going into account with $1.6 million in it, and it's just sitting there. And Ms. Lang, who said, well, I don't know what all this is about, and, well, maybe I want to build a building, who claims that maybe I want to build a building. That's what she said last Commissioner's Court. Maybe I want to build a building for somebody who's now been in office for 2 terms and is running for another term. You would think that she knows what those funds are supposed to be used for and what they aren't supposed to be used for. And I think that it would be very wise and it would be a very good thing to work together with the county instead of pounding your fist and fighting every single thing that doesn't go your way. There's things that don't go my way, but you don't see me pounding my fist. I may bring it up, I may talk about it, I may try to be civil about it, but I don't go banging my fist saying, no, I'm not going to do it because, I don't like the software. I like this software. I don't like this software. This is the most childish thing that I've ever seen in my life from an elected official. We have got to start working together as a community and stop all of the nastiness and all of the infighting. It's got to stop. And the other thing I'd like to mention to Ms. Lang is that every single time there is something wrong with somebody that she supports or Mr. Eagle supports or any of this other crew that's always wanting to fight, it's their problem and they need to fix it for the taxpayers. Well, let me rephrase that real quick. Every time there's something wrong with her office, it's, well, that's my choice because this is my office and I'm elected official. But say if Jack Wilson had a problem, oh, well, he's obviously a failure. And there's always this infighting, but they never want to take responsibility for their own actions. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, Judge, Commissioners. I thought Dub Gillen did an excellent job of talking about the emails and the reasons why he's not moving forward with this implementation. I have yet to see the invoice for the $22,750. I don't know, are you wanting me to pay for that too, or is that going to come out of contract services, or what were you planning? How was that going to be paid? Because nobody talked to me about it. In fact, nobody talked to me about last week's Commissioner's Court either. Nobody reached out to me. Kevin did the night before. Commissioner Eagle did. But you 3 that voted for this software, I have yet for you to call me, email me, come to my office, talk to me. You know, if you're wanting to use money out of my office then I would think you would give me an olive branch, come talk to me, see what's going on, strike up a friendly conversation. So as far as the comments from Zach Maxwell about me having $1.6 million in my account, that's false. And that's because Becky added my accounts together. There's two separate, by statute, accounts where the fees have to be put into. So one is for the archival, and that is to preserve my records that have in the past. Think of it that way. The preservation is for the future. So that could be something that is technology or digital, something to pay for that. So the point that he made about the judge, I made about a building was because I was trying to make a point. I was trying to say the judge doesn't know what I have planned. Still doesn't. But I don't have $1.6 million. I do have my fees set for the records management fee, which we collect when we do our deed records, and that is $10, and that was set by the Commissioner's Court to collect those fees. And then I also have an archival account, which is a $5 fee for fees brought into that was also, it's a plan that I have to present every year to the commissioners when we do our budget. And I present that plan, and the $5 fee is taken on my deed records whenever we sell records. So this is done by the Commissioner's Court also. Now, I could reduce the fee, but the accumulation of those accounts is on the commissioners because it's the Commissioner's Court that put those fees into practice. So as far as the invoice, I did not receive the invoice. I did not receive the email by Tyler. I have requested repeatedly for help in this conversion process, June 1st, August 8th, August 30th, September 8th. September 8th, I had Tyler come into my office and sit down and talk to me, something that Tyler did that none of you did. He said, after we discussed for about an hour and a half, and Roland was in my office also, from Tyler, one of his employees, we came to the understanding that a successful solution to the problem would be for the Commissioner Court to budget an engineer type person, similar to what the district clerk had. Now, I have not heard anything about anything as far as being assigned a technical person. I've asked for it, but have yet to receive it. And now, you just all of a sudden out of the blue put this on Commissioner's Court last Tuesday without even contacting me, not even asking me if it's okay. I can't use the records management fund to pay for the sheriff's salaries by statute. It doesn't pay for salaries. It pays for records management processes and automation, that kind of stuff. So, the sheriff, I talked to him before court. He said Becky wanted him to get up and talk, and he said no, because his office is his office, and my office is my office, and he didn't want to interfere. He doesn't want to use my funds. He never asked to. That was Becky's idea. So, I don't know what you all are thinking, but
On September 1, 2022, at 1:16 p.m., and I quote, "When Roland and your team will be out on site and coming to my office, I'm still short on staff, but I'm sure we can work it out if I have your schedule." Your words.
yes. And
Okay.
yeah,
They did come to your office.
Yes.
And you would, from what I've been told by them being Tyler, you told them you were not going to participate and they were not welcome.
no, That was never said.
Well,
That
then-
was never said. I never told them they were not welcome, and I can read you those emails. I have those emails too. I was very accommodating to them. I had some problems with staffing because people were sick. I had
They
someone
said
out
they
with
would be there
COVID.
by
Are you
their
going to
own-
interrupt me or let me talk? So I had people sick. They came to my office. We figured out a date. They said, well, I told them I had 2 offices. They're willing to come to both. I said,
True.
that's not necessary. Just come to my one office. We sat down, had a very nice conversation for about an hour and a half. And this is what I was just discussing previously, that we came to the conclusion that I needed a technical person to help with the conversion process in my office. That's what came out of that meeting. So I sent them an email saying, thanks for coming to my office. Clint Griggs and Jarrett Stansny. As we just discussed, a successful solution to this problem would be for the Commissioners Court to budget an engineer-type person similar to Holly, the district clerk Tona was able to have during her conversion process. When the Commissioner Court voted 3-2 to pay for Tyler's software conversion for the county clerk records management process, they did not budget for an engineer-type person to do the conversion for my office.
Ms. Kidd?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'd like to clarify a few things. When you open up my computer and you pull up Fund 68, which is Records Management and Technology, and you, sorry guys, I'm short, but I do have a big mouth. Okay, when you look at this fund on any of your computers, on her computer or anybody that has access to financials, the fund has $1.6 million in it, period, all day long. That's the money in the account. It can be divided, it can be quartered, whatever you want to do with it. The bottom line is it's $1.6 million. That's a fact. The second fact is this account was set up to preserve records. And there was an employee that did that over the course of 7 years. And then that employee was no longer needed, and she no longer works for Mrs. Lang. Salary was paid out of that. So you can't say you don't pay salary out of that because that's what they did with it.
That was paid out of the archive
That's
account.
still Fund 68. All day long, Katie, it's still Fund 68. It's still records management and preservation. And when I spoke with the sheriff before the last meeting, I said, I'm trying to help you, sir. I'm trying to help you. I'm going to talk and see if I can get Katie to pay this invoice to help the county. I don't know how many times I can say that. There's no animosity. I'm not mean. I'm not trying to do something but help the sheriff's department. That would have been an easy fix. It would have been easy because that money can be used on automation in various offices, which meant she could easily pay the invoice and we could move on. You're about to have a meeting about the sheriff's salaries, and that's what I was trying to do. And in this email that I have too, they were in her office in August trying to work with her, and she invited them. So I don't know why we're here. I don't get it.
Well, we're here to, the court has to decide whether or not we're going to sign an addendum to the Tyler contract, because we have 2 departments that are not going to go live on November 30th, which everybody else is. And so, per their contract, they're supposed to go live with everybody. And they're not going to be able to do that, is what they're telling me. And to take care of, if we go live with everybody else except those 2 departments, they said they can do that in the second phase, sometime in January, February, is what I was told by Greg Wallace, that they would be in the second phase. But that's in the contract to do that. And to do that, it's going to cost their company, and I can read the long letter from Greg Wallace, I'll present it for the court, that says that's what it's going to take them, because they're going to have to treat those 2 departments separately and do a redo to bring them on live sometime in the first quarter of 2023. Now, Dub's telling us that that ain't going to happen. Well, net data is going away. I don't think the Commissioner's Court, I think we've made it pretty clear, we're getting out of net data. That's all we're going to have is Tyler. You're going to have Tyler, or you're going to have a number 2 pencil. And that's, we're not going to, we're not going to operate with two contracts. It's a $120,000 contract with Net Data and whatever the contract is with Tyler. The court.
Well, it's more than $120,000. It's more than
Don't
that.
quote me on the numbers. You know the numbers better than I do, but I know it's expensive to operate with those two different softwares. And I don't think the court, I'm just one vote, remember, but I'm not going to vote for it, that we operate out of two softwares. We're going to go with Tyler. And if the two departments, evidently they're not going to be able to convert at the end of November, go live, I think it's December 1, first or end of November, we're going to go live with everybody else, but they're not because they're not ready. Tyler's afraid to do that without having the verification of the data push. If they haven't verified the data, then they don't want to make them look bad or Tyler look bad to turn it on, because it won't work if they haven't verified the data push from Net Data over into Tyler. So they're going to put that on the first quarter of 2023 to come back and get those two offices running on Tyler. That's what this court, why we're having this today, because we have to come to court to either agree to the amendment to the contract or not agree to the amendment to the contract.
And
That's why we're here.
And if you agree to it, I need to know where to pay for it from.
Yes, yes,
Where to get the money?
yes.
And the other thing I would like to say is during the workshops and discussions, myself and my staff repeatedly said, we know Tyler, we've worked with it, we will help you, we will come in, we'll move mountains to help you. And all of you know that.
There's been a couple of offers, in my understanding, from your department and also from JP3 to help JP4 and Gady.
We'll go tomorrow. We will go in tomorrow and do anything we can to help them. I want to see this succeed for the whole county. That's what I'd like to see.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kidd.
Okay, to comment on Becky's last point, she has Tyler. She has a financial program software for Tyler. It is nothing to do with case management software, just like I have Eagle Recorder in my deed records. It's a whole different program. So because she's willing to give her staff over to help me, they would come to my office and not have a clue because they don't run on case management software. And as far as the funds, let me read this for you. Okay, so records management collected in deed records, only the county clerk can use. Records management and preservation, section 118.0216. A fee for the records management and preservation under section 118.001 is for the records management and preservation services performed by the county clerk after filing and recording of a document in the records office of the clerk. A fee must be paid at the time of filing of a document. The fee shall be deposited in a separate records management and preservation account in the county. The fee may be used only to provide for funds for specific records management and preservation, including for automation purposes. So there has to be a separate account. If she's not doing it separately, then she's doing it wrong and it's not legal. Okay, so for the archive fee for the clerk's office, I'm just going to read the last couple sentences. The fee shall be deposited in a separate records archive account in the general fund of the county. Any interest accrued remains in the account. So both of these statutes say they have to be in separate accounts. So if she's doing this practice, she's doing it illegally. Thank you.
Let her finish and come on up to the side service.
She calls this Fund 68, but it needs to be a separate account by statute for both of those statutes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, this is where it gets crazy, because in Fund 68, which is completely separate, it had, when you do budgets, got a budget, There are two separate sections of revenue and two separate sections of expense. I don't know how you don't know that. One
I
of
do
them
know
is-
that, Beck.
I'm finished.
Okay.
Let me finish.
All right.
One of them is for your archive, and one of them is for preservation. So, do you agree with me? Do you agree with me that you have?
They're separate.
Yes, in your fund.
Okay, so you're saying I have $1.6 million because you're adding both of them together,
What's wrong with that?
because they're separate.
Oh, my God.
And you keep saying that I'm going to pay the $220,000, $250,000, as the judge states.
Where did I say that? When and where did
Last
I
Tuesday.
state that? When did I state that, Katie? When did I say that to anybody? That's why we're here. I can't tell them where to pay this from. I've
You
not
did
made
let-
that suggestion
asked
to
for them.
anyone.
You asked for them to pay it last court out of my record management account. That was the whole
Did
argument.
I do that? If I did, I don't remember it, but. I'm sorry? That's different. Okay, that's different. That's not this one. Okay. I asked for them to pay, you to pay the 160 so that I could take that money, not spend it on salaries for the sheriff's department, sorry, not spend it on money for the sheriff's department, but I would reduce the money that we spend in Drew's budget on contract services and increase the budget in the sheriff's department. That's how that works. That's how that
like an
works.
eggshell game?
Why is it an eggshell game when I'm trying to help the
Because you're
sheriff's
moving
department?
money all around. You're moving from one line item to
Are you
another line
accusing me of
item.
doing something wrong?
Am I?
Any of you agree with her on that? Gentlemen?
It's all taxpayers' money. We ought to use all taxpayers' money in the best way we can accommodate taxpayers' money.
How often do we do line item transfers, gentlemen?
Line item transfers is
Every court.
every court.
Do I do them without your permission?
No,
Ever?
no.
So are we all in a shell game then? Is that what this is?
Okay, can I say something? Record-
Anyway,
I guess not.
Dub, you brought up, I don't care about an attorney general opinion.
That's what you said.
It's exactly what I said. You know why I said it? Because I didn't care what they said as long as we could help the sheriff's department. That's the point there. And if you want to go that far, there is, I'm talking, please.
Just ask me a question.
Okay, go ahead. I apologize.
No, you asked me a question. As long as we do things legally, by the book, and according to law. But attorney general opinions don't matter. Wow, that was a...
Exactly, because there is one that says they can decide on this software, but you want another one. Am I wrong, sir? Okay, so then you don't care about attorney general opinions either. I'm done.
Okay.
Could I ask a question? Yes. When is the, Commissioner Cotton, you talked about going live. What is I haven't seen any, and maybe I missed it, that's easy thing to do, but when is the estimate to go live?
December 1 or November 30th or December 1. It's in that time frame. That came up in the governor's meeting that you get invited to every month, and that's when we were told.
So 30 days from now.
I was told by Greg Wallace, that the other, and they're here, that they are up to speed and on target for go live JP3, JP1, and JP2. I was told by Greg Wallace now.
So I don't know how much I'm going to say, but I got to ask this question. We're not going live for 5 weeks nearly. We're in the middle of a serious, nasty election, nasty as I've ever been involved in. Why are we doing this today? Why are we doing this today?
We got an invoice right here, which you were on distribution for, right here, that says so.
All I see is the contract here that we're supposed to sign.
Well, if we sign this.
What's the date on it? What date is this invoice due? Today? It's not on there anywhere. We could have put this on the November 8th regular Commissioners Court and dealt with this in a regular court with 35 days before it goes live. We could have dealt with this in a regular court. It's just fishy to me. It's fishy to me that this is being done in the middle of an election. When there's, when a county clerk has an opponent, it's really fishy to me, but what do I know?
Tyler, Greg Wallace told me that they were going to have to change the way they're operating now because they've been under the assumption and the operation of the contract that the whole county was going to go live December 31st. And he needed to know whether or not we were going to back that up and that was going to happen. And he was told that that's not going to happen. He said, well, then we've got to change our operation to what we're doing. We won't be working with these two because they're not going to go live, but we need to concentrate on now of putting our resources in the people that are going live. That's why he asked the court, if you want to do this, I need to get an amendment in front of you. Matter of fact, I think you, Commissioner Eagle, brought it up in a workshop. How much is it going to cost us to change our mind? I think you brought that up because we didn't know. What's it going to cost us to not go ahead with the contract with Tyler to go live in late fall? And I think you asked, well, we don't know what that's going to cost. Well, Tyler came up with the cost, sent us the contract, and asked us to sign it and pay for the amendment to the contract to bring two departments up in the first quarter of 2023.
Grandstand all you want, but this is ill-timed in the middle of an election.
I don't know. I'm not running for election. Well, I did, but I lost. So it didn't affect me. I'm just trying to do what I can do while I'm here.
And we got to act on it. I think we have to act on it, or we'll be delayed again.
Well,
And there'll be another addendum to this. These people have got to plan out. This is a pretty complicated work, and we all know that. So we got to keep moving along. That's the whole purpose. Everybody knew is to vote on the addendum and then to pay the invoice and to tell Ms. Kidd where to get the money. So
can I ask a little clarification here on that? What exactly is this money for? Is this to pay for, my understanding, and I may be wrong on this, is this to pay for the new go live, the work that's going to be done with those two offices to go live? Is that a settled issue? That's...
from a big bang approach to a two-phase approach. That's what it is. That's what brought it.
Right, but I mean, my
Wouldn't have changed, we wouldn't have the 220,750 if everybody would have gone live like we contracted for back when we passed it in Commissioner's Court. This would, I agree, it's totally useless. I wish we didn't have it. Ms. Brown, thank you for, I forgot how many times we have talked about this conversion from Nat Data to Tyler. It's been talked about in, I think, 3 commissioners' courts on the deal. Finally, we said we've kicked the can down the court just long enough. We have to make a decision. We've had all the study groups. Everybody voted here. We had, anyway, it's what we've done. So that's what it is. It's right here in this contract here.
okay, well, are we not, if we say, okay, we're going to do this in January, are we not still at the same point that we have two departments that are not willing to go? What's going to happen when that go live date comes and goes? Because we still haven't gotten anything done. Do we have to make another amendment to extend that further? I mean, you know,
It may be.
What's
You know, that's a very
the
valid
solution here? Yeah,
That's a very valid question, because we have Judge Gillum up here telling us he didn't care what we do up here, that he's not going to do it. He's not going to go to Tyler no matter what. Is that your position, Judge Gillum? That's your position, Judge? It's costing us $220 by just looking at this. This is why it's costing $220, because you and Ms. Lang were not ready to do the big bang approach for all the county offices at one time. Now it's got to be 2 phases. We're going to go live with everybody but your offices.
You asked me a question, so why don't you just exclude me from the contract and renegotiate the contract without me in it? That saves the county money. That's what I tried to do from the get-go.
Yep.
You don't have to pay
Judge,
$200,000 to bring me on.
Yeah, but we'd have to pay net data if some.
are we
I don't
still
know what the
taking
number is
comments?
With net data,
or
we'd have
is
to pay them.
Because you've already started.
Lang, Ms. Lang, please.
I'm asking you, are we still taking comments from the audience because we've already started this?
Yes, well, it's only one agenda item.
I'm just asking as a question, can you exclude me from the contract? Commissioner Wilson says,
No, we can't, Dub. We have to give you the equipment to run your department, and it's our decision on what software we give you, and it's Tyler. We have to do that. We can't ignore you and not give you Tyler. We've got to give it to you, and we're going to keep coming back to give you Tyler so that everybody's on board.
so when you and I had this discussion in the governance meeting, you said, what are you going to do? And I said, go paper. And you said, okay, that's fine. We'll
Yep.
just take you off.
No, I said, I won't take you off. You're taking yourself off.
Okay, either or.
Yeah.
But remove me from the contract.
Well, and I think that the point here, this is my question. If you do decide that you're just going to go paper, we're making a contract for another $220,000 that we're not going to live up to, and we're going to be back here in the end of January. I think.
It's
a second go live.
Can you answer that question, Kristen?
I'm not even picking a side on this deal right this second. I'm just saying.
Commissioner Andrews, it's a second go live, whether we go live in January, February, March. And that's what the gist of that was. And I just got the letter secondhand. But the reason this has been kicked down the road year after year, and I talked to Eddie Rodriguez this morning, and guys that were in IT department, how long ago was that? Way before our time. Because it's such a difficult decision. There's counties all over the state that use 2 software systems. All over the state. A lot of them, the JPs are on one because NetD is the best software for JPs, and Tyler is good software for others. And Zach, to make this a little bit more clear, this was people in the county offices, district clerk, that didn't like their software. These were the people that liked their software. And this was just an explanation that they take the people that didn't like their software, gave them something they liked. I was all for that. Great. Judge Gwynn wanted to go to Tyler. Great, let her go. Then we can really compare apples to oranges, let her go. And then a year or 2 down the line, maybe we'll switch over if that was the best thing. It also, but anyway, it's very deep in this software. That's why it's taken so long to work it out. But there's a lot of counties that don't have all one software. They have different softwares. And this was changing us to something we didn't want, we didn't need, we didn't ask for, but we were forced to use it. And it didn't make sense. You talked about productivity in our county in last week's meeting, why some employees want to stay here during the meeting while we have public comments and all. We want them to get back in their offices. This was hugely detrimental to our productivity and our efficiency because having to dive in so deep into it. But that's why it's taken so long, years down the road, to make this decision. So I told Greg Wallace, never say never, but it didn't make sense. And I stand on my principles that this was the best software for our office. Y'all agreed. You agreed. You said, we want you to use what you want to use.
Decision. Thank you, Judge. We want to hear from somebody else. We've got your point. Thank you. I want to hear from IT department. Tell us the pros and cons.
Okay. While everyone is fighting, I'm going to take a step back.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I'm going to take a step back here. So, this has been going on for 10 years, since 2013, since the district clerk, Tona, decided to move to Tyler. So with that, there were a few challenges. And the only reason we even considered Tyler, or even Tyler was a consideration, whether you word it either way, was because right now, the sheriff's office is double entering data. When a individual brings someone into the jail to get booked in, they have Spillman, which is the CAD system. So that is the system they use for dispatch and everything else in their office. But they also have Net Data Jail. So when an individual comes in, they, at the jail side, have to enter the data twice. So the reason for that is because when my previous director, Jackie Solomon, who was here at the time, reached out to Net Data at the time, again, this is 8 years ago, hey, how can we make this, we wouldn't even mind paying you as Net Data to try to come up with a solution to integrate both Spillman and Net Data. So this whole double entering thing would go away. Net Data at the time did not want to do it, refused. So that has always been this, why did Tyler even have a foothold into the county, is to, again, a unified single pane of glass solution. And then, of course, as the court has voted to go with Tyler, we found out that the district attorney's office was also double entering data, and therefore, of course, time. Waste more time. So with this, of course, is a unified system. So when we go live with Tyler, everything now will be a seamless integration of data. The jailers will only have to enter into one system, which will be Spillman, and we have created, with Tyler's ability to work with Spillman, a single API that will pull all that data out of Spillman and will be put into Tyler. So, the last governance meeting, and of course I bring this up because in the last governance meeting, I know you were not there, Katie, because it was also brought up to Matt Mills and his department. Let's say you stay with Net Data. When we go live, the sheriff is only entering into Spillman. And I mean by that is, at some point, you will have to take Tyler data and put it into Net Data if you want to remain on Net Data. Now, you've said in the past that Net Data has created an API that works with Spillman already. Granted, we did set them up, IT did set Net Data up to work with Spillman at a vendor level. Again, that was assuming that maybe Net Data was able to put that API together. Again, that was all right before the court voted if we were going to go with Tyler or Net Data. And if Net Data could do that, then again, we wouldn't even have to go with Tyler. We could have stayed with Net Data.
Can I ask you a question?
Go forward. No, wait, let him finish.
No,
I want you to finish.
It's fine. I'm just.
Okay, so all the counties in Hood County, all the offices are going to Tyler, except for the sheriff's office.
They don't need to go to Tyler. The issue isn't the issue. The issue is Spillman working with Net Data. That is the problem, and that is why the jailers have to put in the dual information. They have to enter it into Spillman Jail and Net Data Jail for your side of things.
So if they're not going to be on Tyler, they're going to stay on that deed. Nothing is going to change for their office.
No. That's not. So if you stay on Net Data, again, they only have to worry about Spillman. When we go live to Tyler, Net Data Jail will not exist anymore. Therefore, Net Data will not get any information and put it into it unless your office puts it into it.
I gotcha. Okay.
Moving forward. So again, we did not realize this was a problem until not going with Tyler, until that became an apparent issue, because that was brought up in the last governance meeting with Matt Mills, because Matt Mills brought up the possibility of not going with Tyler, and that was fine. But I told him and Roberta Stringer there at the same time, if they did not go, then their office would also be inputting data into Net Data, just to use Net Data. And they told me, or they told everyone at the governance meeting, and again, not going to speak for an elected official, but they told me they were still going to do Tyler because they didn't want that extra, they don't have the people to do that, all that extra stuff.
How does it affect Judge Gillum, the jail system, about what he does in arraigning jail prisoners?
It doesn't. This would only affect the county clerk.
Okay, so I have asked repeatedly for help for a technical person to come into my office and help us with this conversion, and I have not heard from anybody about that subject. So, I've pleaded, since June 1st, several emails stating that I need help, I need help. I sent it to Greg Wallace, I sent it to you, I sent it to the court. I need help. I have not received any help for this conversion. If I don't get any help with this conversion, then I can't do it. So why would I go forward?
To answer your question, there's quite a few answers with that. So June is the middle of the project. I mean, that is at the very middle of the project. Again, and we were going into budget anyway. I mean, I asked for a technical person to help support the whole county, and I got that. I do not know, I didn't watch your particular presentation. I don't know if you asked at that presentation for a person or not. I don't know.
Okay, I did not ask because it's not me that wanted the software, it's the court. So they need to provide the software, the equipment, the personnel to make this work.
That sounds like a fight between you and the court.
Yep.
As IT, I am just trying to support the county as a whole, regardless. But I'm just letting you know of the issues your office will face once we go live. Now, you will have to start inputting your own data from Tyler into NetData for you to even operate on NetData for your cases.
Okay, well, I would like to have a technical person. I'm requesting I've been since June 1st, so I don't know.
Anyway.
Okay, let me go ahead with the other. Thank you very much.
But I just want to rewind all the way back and to give basically a reason of why we even looked at Tyler. Because again, I know the sheriff has a thing after this about retention and stuff like that. So again, the idea of moving to Tyler was to reduce time spent in areas, that we could put some kind of a unified system in that would take care of that. Because again, time is money. So that's the whole reason Tyler even got brought up. But thank you for it.
Okay, I've got a question. I agree with Mr. Maxwell. I think that there is somewhere in here that we all have to step back for a minute and say, what's the give and take? What's the solution? Where do we come up with an answer here? Is the main hang-up here that you need somebody to help input that? Is that the crux of this matter? Does that solve the problem? If we can get that
If you would have read my emails,
Yeah.
there's been several of them. That's what I've stated
yeah.
all along.
Okay, and I thought that the extra person coming into IT, I kind of thought that was okay. I'm gonna hush and let you talk then.
Hey, Becky, could I ask you one question? Becky?
Yes, sir.
We didn't have it on the agenda, but what account is this money proposed to be coming out of?
That's,
So that's a floating target right now. I'm just trying to,
I can suggest
there's been a
some
lot of
things.
information coming in.
I can suggest some accounts, but that's why we're having, because I don't know what to tell. I can't just say, hey, I'm going to pay for it out of capital projects. I can't make those decisions.
So you don't have an idea of what account to suggest at this time?
Well, is this a workshop, or, I don't remember exactly what this is. Is this workshop or
Special call meeting.
Special call meeting. Okay. If you would like, I can, within the next 2 weeks, before we have regular court, come back with some suggestions. I would be more than happy to do that. But I would also like to tell the court, I got chastised in an email saying I didn't do budgets right. If you needed a person, you should have put it in your budget.
Well, let me add something here, because I'm confused myself at the moment. After we had court the last, on the 25th, we talked about an AG opinion and a case that was embedded in that opinion about those nomenclatured funds. We're talking about the funds for the archives and all that stuff. They're specific use funds, correct? Supposed to be.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
let me, and when we got, a couple of days after we got back from that court, Mr. Mills, because he was asked to by the county judge, he went and researched that AG opinion with the case law cited in it and determined that that was indeed the law.
Absolutely.
And so here's the question on, I'm trying to earmark the funds because what it requires coming from that fund is it has to, the archives fund is, has to be specific use and it has to be agreed on. The county clerk merely has to agree with the court on it.
Yes, sir.
So I'm trying to get to the punchline here. My understanding after talking to the county clerk on this issue today, on this court issue today in the middle of an election, was that no one has really, Mr. Wilson has his Commissioner 3 on this agenda item, on this special called Commissioner's Court, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Ms. Lang, but Mr. Wilson has not emailed Ms. Lang about this or reached out and asked to discuss this because, in my opinion, this is simply a situation where people need to sit down and talk about this. The county clerk has to agree with the Commissioner's Court to use this money for certain purposes, and I think that the county clerk is agreeable to do that if she can sit down and agree to it. Nobody's asked her really to come to the table and agree. The Commissioner's Court is trying to force it.
With all due respect, Commissioner Eagle, I sat in that chair over there and begged her to on Tuesday of last week.
In the middle of court.
Well,
and here's the deal.
sir, she paid this last year. I listened to that. I listened to this last year. She agreed to help the county and pay for this. I assumed it was moving forward because there was so much money in there.
You assumed.
Well, I assume wrongly.
So
But again,
I said earlier, I stated that I paid for last year's Tyler invoice because I was going to give it a try. I was going to try and do the conversion, and I was already set to go. I had so many problems with this conversion that it's not working for me. So nobody, you, Becky, has come to my office. Jack, Judge, Cotton, nobody has reached out to me, phone call, email, text, come to my office to talk about it. So when you're putting a gun to my head, why would I want to go forward with something that somebody's forcing me to do?
I'm sorry, I can't imagine putting a gun to your head in any capacity. Again, anybody that was in here last week, yes, we had a heated discussion. I was upset because you have the ability to do it. You just agree with them and you help. That's all I was asking. Please help.
I did help, but nobody's helped me. When am I going to get the help?
Katie, you've got to come and say, Becky,
I'm done.
I need you to put
I
a
have to come to
person in
you?
my budget.
I have to come to
You have to put it on your list.
I didn't vote for this. They did. They're the
you're
ones that
saying you need
say,
a person.
I'm going to put this in, so you all have to do it. There's a statute. You all have to do it. We're going to make you do it.
Okay. Kristen wants to talk for a minute.
Let Ms. Brown finish up, please.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Get the mic.
oh yeah, so,
Yes, she does. Everybody else
okay.
does.
So last week's $160,000, can I get verification of where that was going? Was that going to Tyler? Where was that $160,000 bill going?
It was Tyler.
Tyler or net data?
Tyler, not net data.
Last week, it was
Last week,
$160,000
last
that
week,
she
the
said she would
160
not pay for because she is not using that software. So was it for Tyler or was it for net data?
It was for Tyler.
Okay. And now this week, we got another $220,000 bill because these two departments are not on schedule. Am I right? Everybody,
know
all the other departments are on schedule except these two. So this county is going to have to find, Becky's going to have to find the money to pay this bill. Right. Am I right? I'm concerned.
The court's going to
with-
have to tell Becky where to do it.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, this court's got to figure
She
out. and
finds
tell-
it, but we
you
have
know,
to
yeah,
bless it,
I know how y'all work. So, I am having a hard time. What is going to happen? Because the court has already decided that we're going with Tyler. Everybody has to get on board with Tyler because this is what has been decided. Am I right? Okay, so what happens when, is there a contract that's due for net data? Are you going to pay it? Is there a yearly contract for net data for these two departments that someone's going to continue to have to pay? What happens if what if there is a security breach or a total failure on these two departments on a software program that we don't have a contract for? Who's going to be on the hook for that? The taxpayers. Not her, not him, but the taxpayers. So what, I don't understand why this argument is. She says she will give it a try. You voted. She can't just give it a try. She's got to jump in there and do it. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, Kristen.
Okay, good afternoon. I just wanted to say that from the beginning of all of this, before I moved to the auditor's office, when I was still in Judge Gwynn's office in JP3, and I started these conversations with all of you, and I went to all of you about and Judge and I both went, I offered to help in every department possible that needed help, that could use help. I mean, I offered to help. Nobody asked me for any help. There has been later now, JP3 still has been using my help. I have helped some in JP2 on the back ends. I did all of the fee codes for the 3 JP offices so that their offices did not have to do, neither of them had to do that. When I was talking to other counties, their auditors made each individual office do their own fee codes, do their own GL accounts, and all of that. They're on their own, and we did not do that. We offered to help. And the other day, Kevin came and was talking to Becky, and they called me in there, and point blank asked me if county clerk was to get on board, Judge Gillum was to get on board, whatever, would I help? And I said, absolutely. Did I not say that? I said, absolutely, I will help in any way possible. I can't physically do every single thing for them, but I can help. And that's what the other offices have done. It's not one person physically doing everything for everybody. It's each office working together to do this. And if their offices go later on, then they're not going to have anyone to lean on in that moment. The other offices can help eventually, but to go through it all together, you all have the same questions, you all have the same problems going on, and you can work together. And to me, the biggest issue with JP4, no, it doesn't have anything to do with the jail, but their offices talk together, where if someone comes in and they have a ticket, Judge Gwynn's office can look up and say, no, your ticket's not in our office, but you do have a ticket in JP4, or you have a ticket in JP2 or whatever, instead of you're going to be sending the person all over, hey, well, they're not here, so I'm sorry, you're going to have to do this. So them having it together is better because, you get, they do talk. Those departments do talk. So that's, and like I said, I offered to help. I've helped with net data. I've helped with everything. I worked in Tona's office and did do the case management system, so I do know about the case management system. I've been a part of a lot of the governance meetings. I've even been on calls that, even though it didn't have anything to do with the auditor's office, but I wanted to make sure that I could, if I needed to, step up to help. So I've been on calls and emails and everything to try to keep up with all of it so that I could help if I needed to. So,
Thank you, and thank you for all your help. Okay, Dr. Granick?
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Embarrassingly, I've probably been working with computers longer than anyone else in this room, as I discovered yesterday that working with the first computer game when I was an undergraduate. But I'm no expert, and that's not the issues here, because there are experts. I want to just answer from this discussion, Commissioner Eagle mentioned, why are we doing this now? Because when election is coming up, the candidates for this office were chosen exactly 8 months ago. So, and this has been under discussion even longer than that. Want to also comment that Ms. Lang says that she sent emails to the various commissioners or such. She didn't apparently contact the obvious person, the IT department that was set to do that. She has made comments that only 3 commissioners voted for this transfer. Yes, that's called a majority, and we live in a democracy, and sometimes things don't go your way in a democracy, but that's what a majority does. It's not always unanimous. But my more general comments is government for the county is responsible to the citizens of the county. The government works like a machine that has to all work together. If some gears of that great machine says, no, I don't want to mesh with the other gears, then the system doesn't work. And that's sort of what we're having here. And I think it's important that we look back, as Mr. Maxwell has said, that we need to get back to working together. That's how the government's going to work. That is what is best for the community as a whole. We have here 220,000. I've spoken before about the county clerk's office costs $45,000 here for the taxpayers to pay, $10,000 there. Now we have a $220,000, but the taxpayers bear that brunt. The office needs to work with all the other offices. It needs to work efficiently. I remember when in my medical practice office, when I decided we would switch over to computers, and there was resistance. And they said, oh, this is working great. We don't want to do that. We converted, and after we converted, people said, oh, we don't want to go back to that old system, because once you converted, you found out that you could work very efficiently. But I want to comment that whoever gets elected to these offices, they're responsible to the citizens. They do not own the office. It's not their whim. They are responsible to do the best job they can, and not just what their personal opinion is. They have to work with everyone else, and not just for personal preference. Thank you for my time.
Okay. Next, David Ferris.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. David Ferris, Abe's Landing in Granbury. I've been up here before. And I would question whether I've been in computers longer than you have, respectfully. I started as a sophomore in college. I used to kind of keep track, retired now, but I do believe I've written over 1 million lines of code in my life. I've developed huge database systems for a company that probably manages over half of people's 401ks. All kinds of data integration, making them searchable, historical records, version control for updates, things of that nature, tracking that. I've developed custom systems. I've also developed systems of over 100 servers, large Unix servers, to manage a single searchable application of hundreds of terabytes of data for companies, as well as my own custom systems. I'm not going to speak to a lot of what is really going on here, I'm just going to make a few simple points in my minutes. Real simply, your IT guy, totally follow what you were talking about the the interfaces between the systems. Makes perfect sense. But guys, I think you're all missing the point, all right? First of all, I know that you've got the JDP departments, you've got the data records, you've got the financial. It sounds like, from an outsider, Tyler works well for financials, okay? My question is, does it work well for data records or JPs? Because yes, one JP says, no way. I've heard that 2 of them are going forward kicking and screaming.
3.
So, okay, 3, all right. That's fine. What that tells me, being over 40 years developing large applications, is option 1. Tyler is totally convoluted, possibly, these are possibles, in the way you have to interface data for your data records, for your JPs. It's just convoluted. It's not straightforward. Well, financial can do it. Well, they may be a good software for that, but I can't tell you if they're a good software for these other 2 types of departments, all right? And unfortunately, whoever is managing this project at a very high level should have known that a year ago, year and a half ago. You don't have a project like this go this far without knowing the status of every department a year ago, all right? Somebody should have been there at that time. And I'm sorry, a user cannot do complex conversions. It's not going to happen, all right? And I'll also tell you, people don't dislike software because of the color of the screen or the fonts. How easy is it to get your data in? How easy is it to search your data? Is the data reliable? Does it have data integrity issues where it loses records, corrupts data? You can't do the version control. The biggest thing is going to be searching, probably. Finding a document. I can't find it. I can't do the searches the way I need them to do my job. That impacts productivity big time. If it takes 3 times the effort and you still don't know if you got the right records, you've got an unworkable system. And yes, it may work fine for the financial, but if the problem is one of the core issues and not just training, you're looking at a train wreck, because you force the conversion and you've got data integrity issues, you've got inability to search and find records, so you find the wrong documents at the wrong time. You got a problem. You need to know what the root cause of these problems are, and you needed to know it a year ago.
Mark McDonald.
Thank you.
I am not working in government or in a public office, and for that I'm fortunate. I have worked in the private sector, and we have gone through and ended up having to implement global processes for across the world. We've had 20,000 employees on every continent of the world, and we need to simplify and standardize the systems. And finding one that's going to be a happy medium for everybody is impossible. And change is tough. But at one point, the decision is made to implement. And then the responsibility going forward is how do we make the implementation work, and how do we find out how we're going to make it work. And one of the things is, and I don't know what you've done within the organization, but having a subject matter expert in there with the implementation team, as well as subject matter experts, will be able to help, because you shouldn't have to go through it in every single department and different JP offices, it shouldn't have to be X number of implementations. It should be one implementation. We've learned from one, how do we implement it in others? Change is difficult. There's always resistance. We had people around the world saying that we didn't want to do it because we're unique. At some point, you have to get on with the system. There has to be one system going forward and consistence. We have to listen to why the issue is there and address what the issue is, but we have to get forward and move forward with it. So, for what it's worth, I don't think there are situations unique. It's how do we address it and implement it.
Thank you. Okay, that's all the speakers that we have. Unless any of the commissioners wish to make a statement.
I'd like to point out one more thing on this before, because I want to make sure everybody's got full information or tell me that I'm incorrect, one way or the other. I'm looking at the billing statement. IT guy's trying to get it up there. I'm looking at the billing statement that was attached to this agenda item that Commissioner Wilson pointed out, and it does show the total amount of $220,750. However, the amount at issue here, as far as at least based, there you go, at least based on the wording of this agenda item, if you look at that, you got the phase 1 and phase 2, what they're trying to, if I'm reading this right, somebody, the Tyler guy's here, he can tell me if I'm wrong. We're really talking about an issue here in this court right now, not $220,750, because that's going to have to go and be spent anyway, except for $24,500. So my question is the issue here as far as the county clerk is concerned and JP4 is concerned, as far as a monetary value of why we're here today, is the issue for them $24,500? That's my question. Does anybody have an answer to that? Because that's what it looks like to me. All the stuff underneath on phase 2 is the stuff they got to do anyway. Anybody here have a thought on that?
My understanding, Becky, or better yet, Drew?
And I'll just read what it says. It says remove, phase number 1, remove CC, I assume that's county clerk, and JP4, that's JP4, from the conversion package at $17,500, and a data review, whatever that is, for $7,000 for a total of $24,500. Everything underneath that is for a different services unrelated to that. Am I reading that correctly?
So let me tell you what, we wouldn't even be having this addendum if JP4 and the county clerk were going live with all the other offices. There'd be no need for this at all. There wouldn't be asking for not additional dollar from the original contract that we signed. Isn't that correct? This is what it's going to cost to take them off and then take them, JP4 and the county clerk's office, into the system.
I believe that is correct, Judge. I can get clarification in an email for you, Commissioner Eagle. I'm unaware if Tyler is actually here. I don't know.
I thought the judge said he was here. Maybe I'm hearing things.
So I can get a clarification, but my understanding from the last governance meeting is this addendum is due to the two offices not moving in sync with the others.
So let me make sure I'm clear here. I want to make sure we got this on the record. You're basically saying that this addendum is going to cost the county an extra 1,110 hours. Is that what I'm reading right off that sheet?
No, that's not right. It's going to cost us 1,250 hours because it's going to cost 140 hours to back out CC and JP4 and data review. They got to back that out. It's going to cost 140 hours to do that. and then there's 110 hours to redo it for 110 hours, so it's 110 plus the 140 for a total of 250. That's the way I read it.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah, hours. 1,250, excuse me.
So you've got it on the record.
So it is my understanding, because of the way when they do the data conversion and they pull the data from net data, it is all together. So right now, what they are going to have to do is sift through that data and pull out those two offices. Because if we sign this addendum, both of those offices have to start over from square one. And so that is what this addendum is stating. That is my understanding from the last governance meeting we had.
Okay.
But I
Thanks.
will get clarification for you, Commissioner Eagle.
Thank you very much. That's all I just needed, a clarification on that.
Is there a way that we keep from spending this money? Is there a solution to this thing that we can come up with right now that avoids the whole thing? I think we keep missing the point, and we keep going to, refighting and rehashing this battle.
Yeah, without talking to Tyler, I don't think we can. I think we'd have to ask that of Tyler.
Okay, I guess let me redirect the question. Is getting somebody in there in the office to help with this conversion, the person that you've been asking for that, I'm just as guilty of that as everybody else, of thinking maybe we had put this little Band-Aid on this problem, and maybe what you're telling me is this needed a much larger solution than, putting Ashley over in IT to come in and help you, or for, Kristen to come into the auditor's office and help you. Is there a solution that avoids this?
Let me ask you this question.
Back again. I can answer that.
You have help, you have anybody in your office, and if Kristen would help, and if county clerk and JP4 would be willing to work on it, could they be up to date and go live? Is that possible?
No, we are way past that. So the issue that we run into, Commissioner Andrews, through this whole process is, while that sounds wonderful, Tyler has brought it up multiple times. It is not our data. It's like IT. Yes, we baby the data, we keep it there for the offices, but it's not technically our data. I don't know what those records look like. So while, yes, Ashley could help, the issue is the departments basically throw their hands up and say, I'm not doing it, you do it. And while I would love to do it, as I've stated in front of the court many times, I will tackle the world for this court. But I got to have the resources to do that. It's just like this last year. I asked for 2 people, I got 1, and I still have a single network person. It is what it is. I understand money needs to be spread around evenly. Got it. But that seems to be the issue. Now, I know Ashley, I have spoke with her, she has no problem, but that still would require someone in each office to actually sit down and actually go through their own data and validate it. Otherwise, we're just, really filling random fields with random fields, and if they do pull a record, good luck if that is actually correct or not.
No, and my point was, I thought that we were bringing some remedy to that particular situation. I see now that that is not a big enough fix. What was being asked for, that was not.
And initially, I asked for 2 Tyler people. I only got 1. I asked for 2 Tyler and 1 network person, and I got 1 Tyler person.
Yep.
Again, would love to move mountains for this court, but I got to have the manpower and resources to achieve those goals.
While you're here, because I think we need to straighten out with the JP4, Mr. Gillum, about other counties having less staff with more things to do. Would you explain how that works?
I could not.
Well, you told me that they outsource their IT.
Oh, okay.
So go with that, because why do we have more IT people than some of the other counties? Because they outsource it. Is that true? You told me that.
I mean, other counties could outsource it, yes. I mean, ultimately, it's like the city of Granbury. The city of Granbury outsources their stuff. I think they have one person on staff, but they outsource it.
Sure. And we don't.
And I mean, again, there's pros and cons to everything.
Well, I'm not here to debate that. I'm just trying to clarify why your staff might be bigger than somebody else's staff, because we don't outsource your.
That, and I think there's a lot of individuals in this room that don't realize and recognize what we actually do.
I agree with that.
Because everyone generally, when they call in for a ticket or on anything, it's, I want it now, and I want it within 30 seconds. And again, you got to have a staff to accommodate that. And that is why I have the staff I have. And it still isn't enough. Because there'll be times where departments will call in for support and be like, hey, I need this now. And it's like, well, everyone's out right now, so we'll get to you when we can. And I've sent those emails before because there were pissed off department heads that don't like that answer.
Yep.
Again, I will move mountains for this court, but I got to have the manpower and resources to do so, and that's always been the case.
So let me back up. I just want to make sure I got it. You wanted 2 Tyler people, and what was the third one?
A network person.
And have you studied Parker County at all, their system, what they do up there? Have you talked to anybody up there, or do you know if they
Parker County?
outsource? Do you know anything about them?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Guess what we need is a motion to discuss it. Does anybody have any other questions?
I would like to have one more clarification, if you don't mind. I got wind of this email string, just to correct Katie, that she has been telling the court since back in August of your needs and what was happening. I reached out to Drew because I heard there was a string of emails from you about that. And I said, were you getting these? Yes. I said, can you give me this string of emails? And so I got them. And all that string of emails that you mentioned and that Jack mentioned, that started back in August 30th of 22, and even before that, myself and Commissioner Wilson are not on that list. If I hadn't asked Drew for it, you've got Commissioner Andrews on there, Commissioner Eagle, and Drew, but not once did you include on this string of emails about your issues of not being able to work with Tyler. Did it come to me or to Mr. Wilson
Okay, well,
or the judge?
no, but I did go to the project manager, who is Drew from IT.
Well, why would
So-
you give it to Mr. Andrews and Mr. Eagle, but not the other 3 commissioners' court? I mean,
Well, you were updated at a later date. I did include you all on an
we
email.
didn't include on any of these, a whole string of emails.
Yes, I have them right here, if you want me
Okay,
to go
well,
through them.
find where my name's on it. I couldn't, the string that I got, I wasn't on it. I just happened to ask Drew for it, and he sent
Okay,
them to me.
well, because Greg Wallace included you in. It's actually an email from him to me saying, sorry to hear of your decision to stay with NetData. If you do not wish to be included in the implementation, you will need to get an amended contract from the Commissioner Court removing your office. I said, in order to do a conversion of my office, I would need an additional employee who has experience as a deputy clerk in both NetD, case management, and Tyler Odyssey. And that was August 1st.
Did you send that to me?
It was sent to you through Greg Wallace, his answer.
Through Greg Wallace?
Yes. So you did receive that email chain. Yes.
Not from you?
Not from me, but from the chain.
Okay.
And I can read that it was sent to you, so I didn't think I needed to resend it.
Did Greg
Because
Wallace
I know-
give it to the rest of the commissioners?
Yes.
But you went ahead and sent it to them anyway, even though you knew.
I was responding to his email.
It looks to me like, it's just an assumption, it looks to me like I was cut out and so was Commissioner Wilson and the judge.
No, you
That's
were.
what it looks like, so.
Okay, well, you're wrong. You're not cut out. You
Well-
have your name right here.
Yeah, but coming from you, we weren't cut in, but this commissioner.
I was answering an email to Greg Wallace, okay? And he included you all in on it.
I'll rest my case.
I rest my case.
Okay. That's all I've got.
Judge?
Okay, JP3 has come up several times, and I've always been on board with Tyler, simply because I felt like it was a better product. When I talked to my girls about it, I didn't say to them, well, let's really talk about this, discuss it, and you get to choose. We discussed it. We talked about the pros and cons about it, and then we decided together we're going to go with it. Once we decided to go with it, we were all working forward together. We didn't say we're going to give it a try for 2 or 3 months. And if it's hard, or if it's something that's going to require us to work a little bit more, a little bit harder, put some other things on hold, that we're not going to do it. What we said is we're going to pull together, we're going to do this. Because, first of all, after it was voted in, then it was what the commissioners gave us as our software program to work with. I think that as an elected official, that was my job, to say to my employees, we have no choice anymore. We're going to work forward with this. And the fact being is that I've been on the judge's bench for 8 years. I was a clerk 8 years before that. And when my judge told me we were going to go forward with something as a clerk, I did it. There were no questions asked. And yes, and I love both judges I worked with. But the fact being, as an elected official, you make the decisions in your office. And whether you want to go forward with them sometimes, it may not be. But when you know it's the best for your constituents, what's we're going to work best in the end, that's exactly. Why are we babysitting? We're not babysitters here. We're asking our employees to go to work their 8 or 10 hours a day, and then go home at night. But we put in our 8 and 10 hours a day working for the county, for our constituents, the people that we were voted in, or have voted us into this office. I don't think that as the commissioners that, and I know it's a very divided court, and I know there are various decisions that have been made up here that have been very, very controversial. But the fact being is that you did vote it in. It was a majority that voted it in. So I think every one of the elected officials in this county should be moving forward with the Tyler program. I have a clerk that's been with me now for about work days, about 26 days, 25 days. She has not only had to learn the net data system, she's also had to learn the Tyler system. And she's doing an incredible job. It's because she put her nose to the grindstone and she got up there and said, this is what I was hired to do, and this is what I'm going to go forward with. So I just wanted to let you know that JP3 is on board. We're working very hard with this new Tyler program. I think it's going to be a great program, and I'm sorry that the rest of the county is not moving forward with it. I think it's a shame. I think they should be ashamed of themselves for not working for their constituents that have put them in that office to do what the Commissioners Court has asked them to do, and to give them this great software program. Thank you.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Actually, I'm glad you jumped up.
If you look at your agenda,
Wait.
there's no discuss and take appropriate action. It just says discuss email, and I read that with the sheriff just now.
Following subject will be discussed and acted upon. Do you see that?
Top of the header.
The header.
Oh, the header?
The following subject will be discussed and acted upon.
Okay. I guess.
I'm glad you're keeping it straight.
I mean, I've never seen it worded that way, but okay. I mean, I guess if that's Usually it says discuss and take appropriate action in the item, you know, so that's what I'm looking for there. So, okay. All right, y'all go do your thing.
Thank you.
Hang on, before you run off there, Matt, let me ask you a question or two. Yeah, that's a...
He's going to bully you a little bit.
I screwed
Watch
up.
out.
Should've
So,
snuck out.
okay, exactly what does the Attorney General opinion say about us picking the software?
Okay, so a couple of things on that. There's some old Attorney General opinions that don't go to this head on.
Right.
That kind of hint at it and kind of say it as, oh, by the way. And those indicate to me that the Commissioners Court picked the software, okay? And I emailed David Brooks, our paid guru in Austin, and he says Commissioners Court picks the software. So Judge Gillum asked me in the summer, says, can you ask for an AG opinion that will directly address this head on? And I said, okay, provided that me asking for the AG opinion that could take forever to get back isn't the justification to not switch. So if you have your justification for not switching, that's a different thing. But I don't want the commissioners to be mad at me for holding up the conversion process. So he said, okay. And so I asked for the opinion. I think it was on August the 1st. So we're waiting for that opinion. I mean, I think if I had to bet money, it's going to come back and say what the other ones have hinted at, which is the Commissioners Court decides the software except for the auditor.
Okay. And I guess the only question that I still have remaining is, if he decides to go to a Big Chief tablet and a number 2 pencil, are we signing a contract for something that we're not going to use?
That's a fair question.
And I think that, and I'm not trying to stir further controversy here, but we're about to vote on paying for something that we don't know if we're going to use.
Well, then vote against it.
You know?
Funny feeling the will.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. But
when that
again,
data's not going to be there and you're not going to have the data.
Well, and I guess
we're not going to enter into contracts, I don't think, unless you can get 3 of us to agree to continue with a net data contract.
No, and I agree with you.
I mean,
I understand what you're saying. I'm just, before we're at the bottom of the hole, we need to stop digging. We need to figure out how to get out of this hole, not create a deeper hole.
I mean, that's one of the questions. The other question that Dave brought up that I'm wondering myself, I haven't seen the bill that y'all are discussing, but it begs the question, if they had to spend all these man hours working with these departments and that never got spent in, all these prior months up to today, and then you spend all those man hours in January or March or whenever of next year, I mean, are we getting billed more than we should? And I would like to I would personally want to discuss that and really nail that question down with Tyler. I mean, is the 220 what we really need to be billed, or is it, I'm sure it's something, but I don't know if it needs to be 220.
Well, Mr. Mills, you agree with me, we got a signed contract where Tyler agreed to perform the conversion for all of the county for X dollars.
Right.
That's a signed contract.
Yes.
If they come back and said they wanted more money without JP4 and the county clerk saying we can't be ready or we're not ready and they can't be online, I would be the first one that said, you sue me or I'm suing you for breach of contract. They agreed to do this conversion for the whole county for a certain dollar amount.
Right.
They said they brought the addendum because these 2 offices are not ready and they have to pull them off. That's the total cost, $220,750.
Well,
that's as clear as you can make it. There wouldn't be an addendum if JP4 and the county clerk would be with the rest of the offices ready to go live.
Well, with all due respect, there's 2 questions. I mean, yes, if they would have gotten on board and done what everybody else did and gone live, we wouldn't be getting this bill. Yes, true. But is the bill really what their man hours are going to be? And for me, that is an open question. I mean, what if they would have sent a bill for $800,000? What do we say? Well, because they didn't switch, let's pay them $800,000 or $2 million. Or I mean, where's the justification for the man hours that they would have spent up front and now they're going to spend theoretically in the spring? I don't know, and I would at least want to grill somebody from Tyler, is this legit? Are these hours really true?
We want to take their deposition and let them go ahead and bill us some more hours?
Well, they're
to
not
justify
here.
this?
If I were a commissioner, I would say, look, man, Greg or whoever it is, like, is this really what you got in this? I mean, I hope that conversation has been had before we write the check for the 220, is all I'm saying, if I were up there.
Well, you know, so what I'm hearing here is there's two arguments here. Number one, we have a procedural issue with the way we've worded this agenda, number one. It's not the way we typically word agendas, and we got it, the judge is pointing out, well, we got it hidden up there at the top, number one. Number two is that we don't have a clear and clean explanation for 1,250 hours, actually. We're being asked to vote on that today, right now, and I know I get accused of wanting to put stuff off, but the bottom line is this: you've brought up some very absolutely valid points. And again, why can't we ferret this out before we put it back on the agenda at a later, either the first, I don't know if we can get it on for the 8th and ferret all this information out, but I know we can get it on by the 29th because we've kicked the second quarter of the month for November. Instead of doing the fourth week, the fourth Tuesday, we're bumping it to the 29th. So that should give us time to answer these questions and actually put the agenda item on correctly. And one last thing, since I was called out by the person that's running for county clerk against the incumbent county clerk, we are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. And let me tell you what a democracy is. It's two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. We are a constitutional republic, and that's why we have a difference in outlook on politics.
That's right. Let me ask you this. Can I answer that question? Yes. The Commissioner's Court is a simple democracy. The country runs as a constitutional republic. The country runs as a constitutional democracy, so does the state. But the Commissioner's Court is a simple democracy. Y'all simply vote and represent them yourselves.
Thank you for the clarification.
Let me ask you this. If we postpone it, Drew, in your opinion, will there be any additional charges? That's what I'm concerned about. Is they coming back with? Is it going to put them behind for the rest of the county? Because these two offices are not ready to go live, and the rest of them are ready to go live. Will that affect the going live feature for all the other offices? And also, will it delay what's in the addendum for the two offices that caused the addendum?
So I am right now doing Matt's suggestion. I'm putting the court together in an email to Tyler right now saying basically everyone has questions about the addendum. So I'm doing that for you right now. To answer your question, Judge, no, to my understanding, this addendum does not affect the go-live date for the main group of offices. However, it is also my understanding that this will affect Phase 2, which would be the other two offices. So that is to my knowledge and to my understanding. Like I said, right now I am putting an email together, sending it to Tyler, letting Tyler know that the Commissioner's Court does have questions about the addendum.
And to be clear, the addendum to a contract is an addendum to a contract. It's another contractual obligation. So I think we should make sure we've got all those questions answered before I put my vote on it anyway.
Well, I'm sending that email right now. That's why I have my phone still in my hand as I'm trying to type up.
Well, I appreciate that.
You work with these guys from Tyler. Do you think it's unreasonable what they're asking for?
Not to my knowledge, no. I mean,
You're
but
closer
like
to
I
it than
said,
the rest of us. I don't know how to grill them on it. I don't know their business.
like
You
I
do.
said, I'm shooting over that email right now.
Yeah.
But like I said before, that is my understanding on why they're charging what they are at the beginning is because they would actually have to sift through all this data and pull it all out, and that does require time and effort to do so because it's all together in one. But I can get, again, I will get clarification on that for the court. I'm doing that right now.
I would like a negotiation of the contract. Say I join, my clerk, along with Judge Gwynn's clerk, led the way for the implementation of the software. She knows exactly what she needs to do. I guarantee you, if you asked today for her to get on and do it, we could go live with the rest of them. It's pretty close. When we speak to the other clerks in the other JP offices, they said they haven't moved farther forward than where we were at when we were on there.
Can I speak to that, Judge?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, what Judge Gillum is saying is true. My understanding, speaking with Ashley, is they developed all the forms basically in unison together that if the judge did actually say, yes, I would like to go live, they could use JP3's forms because they are the same forms.
Good. Why don't you go live, save us $220,000?
Well, tell me the bottom price of that because,
$220,000.
well, I agreed with Commissioner
You think it should
Eagle.
be cheaper?
I do, as far as hours,
So
man hours, because,
so you know what Tyler does?
yes, sir.
Oh, I don't.
I've been
Better
sitting
than I
there
am.
with, I sit with my clerks every day and I look at what
Well,
they
you're
do.
not using Tyler, so how do you know?
We went through the implementation. When my clerks got the 52 questions per case with hundreds and hundreds of cases, it was overwhelming with the implementation. So what was the original go-live date of this contract? October 31st.
Set it back a month.
Well, we're not there. It got moved back. It got pushed back. It got pushed back. Speaking with other courts, they don't believe it's going to be December 5th either, but we'll see. I've been speaking with Erath County. Their go-live date was pushed back several months. So it's a huge process, as you've gathered.
Sure it is.
Huge implementation. And the gentleman said, our clerks are having to implement very difficult software. Okay? So my clerk was right in there with Ashley, and she busted her butt to get even the other two JP clerks kind of up and going. So I don't think it will take that long, nor do I think it's a $220,000 bill.
Let me ask you this. If we were to table this for 2 weeks, would you be willing to work
I'll
with
get
the
you your
rest of us?
answers.
Because you see the tenor of what we're doing here. You've seen all the arguments,
Yes,
pro
sir.
and con.
Yes, sir.
And you know that we voted on it. We all voted to go, or the Commissioners Court, majority rule, voted to go forward with Tyler. Knowing all of this, would you be willing to work with the county and let's all go together?
Yes, sir.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because I never said never. But also, I do have an issue with the JP that's retiring in December having major input on this. And I'll go ahead and say that. Judge Gwynn, she was retiring in December. Why did she have so much input? But she also said, our constituents want us to do what y'all say to do. And I'm sorry, I was voted as a JP.
No, all we're saying is that we.
Well, I'm saying what Judge Gwynn, I'm just countering that. I don't work for y'all. I work for the people and for the JP, and I run my office. And we do an awesome job. My clerks do.
We do
I get
too.
most of the credit.
We do too.
Y'all have a very
I think
difficult
everybody
job.
does. I think all do.
All have a, but
I think we've got a win here. Let's
we gotta
not
win.
beat that
You're willing
thing to death. Let's
stop.
let's see if
We
can
got
work.
your agreement that you're willing to look at it. Let's see what we can do. If we can table this thing, and we'll wait for a motion. Let me just,
And if that'll help you.
what about you, Miss Lang? Would you be willing to work with us. You said that was a big concern of yours. Would you work with us and see if you could go live, knowing that you're going to have to do that double entry after everybody else goes live?
Well, that's not the consideration, the double entry. We can do that. That's not a problem with NetD if we're staying with NetD. But I am, like I said before, all I was asking for was a technical person to help us. So if you want to employ a technical person in my department that can go through the conversion, then I would be willing to help in any way I can. I mean, Tona's office got a technical person. I have thousands and thousands of records in my office, and there were thousands and thousands of questions that's where the stopping point was when we had to start answering these questions, because we had been doing the conversion. We had been going through all the meetings and the stages of conversion, of entering the forms and all of that. And I wanted it to work. I wanted it to be successful. So if we could have a person that would help us, and I don't mean Becky's clerk coming over and helping for a couple hours. This process is huge, and it's going to take a staff person in our office to help with the conversion. So I would be willing to do it if you would be willing to help me.
So we have somebody else that wants to speak, Judge. We got 3 who want to speak.
Man, are we fixing? Hey, I think we've got a win going on here. Let's not blow this thing, okay? That's
points that I think everybody would like. Okay, up there. Okay, if I may. Okay, well, I just talked to Drew, and he says he thinks he could find somebody that could
Help. And one person to help you with this conversion is going to be a lot cheaper than $220,000.
Yes, sir.
If we could do it. So,
I agree.
And if everybody could work together, it saves all the taxpayers $220,000.
And that's what I've been wanting to
I'll tell
do
you
from
what,
the beginning.
I've been in enough lawsuits that Tyler's going to be able to justify their bill. And that's what Drew said.
Sure.
And I've been enough. How are we going
Sure.
to cross-examine them on what it's going to take to do this? So
Oh, yeah, they're
that's what I think.
they're definitely going to be able to justify their bill.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I got you, Tina. I got you. Yes.
Okay, I think everybody would like these 2 points. First of all, from looking at that invoice, the $194,000 is a second phase, and if the departments go, I would have a big problem in any project I've ever worked on paying money for work to back out for those groups, because that's what that 194 looked to be, it appeared to be a phase 2 because they were backing out. If they're not backing out, I don't believe that's the case. But they're not here, I can't interrogate them, okay?
We're going to find out.
So you need to find that out. The second thing, I had said, whose responsibility earlier? Somebody should have been following up on this a year ago. Please, but give me a second, because I'm being nice. It sounds to me like Tyler's contract was they were to do the entire county. I would now say, in my opinion, it's their fault. They better have documentation as to the 175 problems that each department had as to why they decided to not go to it, since their contract says to do everything. They better have not just shown up once, oh, well.
They didn't.
They asked Deb, and they asked her, they want to go, and Deb says, I ain't going. She sent them an email and says,
I know that.
So they said, we're not going to do it.
But they've got to have documentation
They can't force them to do it.
on what the problems were.
And if they would have gone live without their help, they'd have made a mess and been embarrassed by them and them, is what we're told. So they couldn't take them live without their help.
I think they're deficient in their contract on that part for those, but
Personal knowledge of that, but thank you for your expertise.
I have a heck of a lot of personal knowledge.
Ms. District Clerk, please come up here. Come on to the mic.
Oh, I know. We got some common ground here.
It's going to take but a minute, but
Pull it
my
down a little
name
bit.
has kind of been thrown around in here this afternoon. I just want to make it clear that whenever I went on Tyler in 2012, 2013, I did not get another new employee. I had a vacancy in my office. I hired someone, and she also helped with the rest of my girls in getting us over from net data to Tyler.
So you didn't
I
get an
did
extra
not get
person?
an employee
An extra
to
person?
track, no,
You just took one of your employees and made him an expert.
exactly.
Okay, thanks.
Tona, what about Holly? Wasn't she an engineer person that you hired, and that's what you told me?
Do what? Who told you?
Holly?
Holly Kopic was just a friend of mine that I actually hired as an employee before we
Yeah.
even went live on Tyler. Yeah. Not in Odyssey, Tyler, she didn't. No.
Yes.
Come on up to the microphone.
Oh, I'm gonna go drill sergeant, that's cool. At what point did we get to the part where we was like, you know what, I don't want to do it anymore? You know? And then, okay, well, we'll bid for you. Seriously, y'all. You need to reread your Constitution, what it means. All right? The Constitution is we elect representatives to represent the masses. Okay? We elect them. They made a decision. Suck it up or get out of town. All right? I'll buy you a bus ticket. Seriously, y'all. Can't put up with this stuff. No, I'll sit down and whine and complain and, you know, because I might get my way. You know what? We'll find somebody who will. All right? Seriously.
Okay.
I don't know how, you know, we can go about doing it. Backwood County. Backwood County. And whoever the big thing that is, wherever he is. Backwood County. All right? You know, no, you know what, but you sit there and you create the problem, and, oh, hey, well, you know, I'm trying to fix them after I create the problem. No, wait a minute, y'all. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank God that's going to be decided over here on November the 8th. Thank God.
All right, let me ask you this. Do I hear a motion regarding tabling this and getting a response back from Tyler? It doesn't look like we could still.
I make a motion that we table this until,
Okay.
oh, wait a minute,
Okay.
time out.
All right, you can.
Having a conversation with Katie, she and I are going to get together and work together and resolve this, because that's what we want to do for the county. She's going to help me, I'm going to help her.
Good. Well, thank you, both of you ladies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll clap for that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Now then, I'm going to make a motion to table this until next Tuesday, November the 8th, which is the next scheduled Commissioners Court, to get the response back from Tyler and request an NTE not to exceed both in that revised estimate.
How about the go-live date that we would consider JP and the county clerk if they ask for a later go, if they need it?
Well, let's not ask too many questions right now. I think let's just
So-
move forward, negotiate, and I think we can deal with that on the other side.
So what are we doing? All we're doing?
Just table it for a week.
Table it.
Just table it for a week.
Till
Okay.
next Tuesday.
Yeah.
That
You'll
gives
say.
Drew time to get a response from Joe Tyler.
And they may have it.
Again, I'm requesting in that request from Drew, an NTE not to exceed. And then we go from there.
Okay. We have a motion made by Commissioner Wilson, to table this for 1 week to get a not exceed contract from Tyler, and that has been seconded by Commissioner Cotton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.